Hello and welcome to my Arty update. I have got lots and lots to show you this week, so let's not delay any further. So I've finished book 10 and I have put the full flip through up already, so if you haven't seen that I will try to remember to put the link in the video description. So last time I got up to this page and I hadn't quite finished it. I have finished it, but I wasn't very happy with the colours. Then I did a scribble exercise because, you know, scribble exercises are really fun to do and they're just freeing and you don't have to think too hard about what you're doing. And then I went back to this kind of pattern here. I like this pattern, I'd like to develop it further, but it's a little bit flat in my opinion, but that's why I'm going to work on it further. Then I decided that I really wanted to start learning how to do the shading in the bubbles a bit more. So I did a couple of these as quick exercises. One I've already put up as a full process video, and there's another one to come in a few weeks' time as well. Really just trying to learn how to shade using the colouring pencils. And this one I used the Inktense pencils for the same process. It's something that I haven't done much of, this shading, and it's something that over the course of the next year I'd quite like to master with both the colouring pencils and the ink as well, the Inktense. Then I went back to a style that I'd done in, I think it was book 9. I really like these leaves in different colours. I just need to kind of figure out what I want to put in the circles. Not sure this is working, but that's fine. Then I did a full-on Zentangle page. I do like to do these quite often just to, just try out new patterns. So this one I used my new watercolour pens. Now I did mention that I got some new art equipment for Christmas and one of them were these watercolour brush pens. It's been a learning process and I will put a video up about those next week. Now this page started off as one thing and ended up as something else, and you know, my new motto is trying to turn it around, because when a page isn't going right, I don't like to scrap a page when I've started it. I'd like to go with it. So with this page I just started adding more Zentangle patterns just to practice them really. So this page I used the watercolour pens here and here and here. Basically I'd used this page as part of the review that I'm putting together, and I didn't want to leave it just with the circles on, so I did some more Zentangle patterns around the outside. This one again had some of the watercolour pens on the background, and again I just put some patterns in. So this one again, I used the watercolour pens on the background. They're quite interesting to use, so if you haven't tried them, do make sure that you check out the video that I'll put up next week. Then I started playing around with this seashell pattern. They remind me of, you know, the seashells that you'll find on the beach. And I did play around with this kind of style for several pages. They started looking less like seashells as I was drawing them. And then I tried a giant one. I quite liked these patterns that I'd chosen to draw inside the seashells. And I thought, oh, let's try them in circles. So I picked out the same hollowed out patterns and the thin lines and the medium lines and just tried them out with some circles. And then I went back to the seashells. What I was trying to do was to come up with a nice composition. And I didn't really succeed, so I will come back to this seashell pattern because I really like them. Then I went back to Zentangle. So the trouble I have with the Zentangle patterns is that quite often I overdo the pages and they're so busy and they're not pretty to look at. So I was trying to keep it simple. I saw these kind of loopy droopy bits on another picture someone else had done, and I thought, well, let's use some of these loopy bits as a basis for the rest of the design. And then inside I added a few Zentangle elements. This I really liked, and this one I really liked as well. So I tried it again. Obviously they're quite different, but using the same elements. And again. What I'd like to do is take my drawings to the next level. I've done a lot of sketchbooks with really simple designs. I find them very relaxing. I don't find this kind of drawing as relaxing. I find it very difficult to make everything the same height and uniform, but I really want to master this technique. I'd like to master shading and depth. I'd like to try and get a bit more 3D effect going on in my drawing. Yeah. So this was the start of something which I will show you in book 11 shortly. This one again had the watercolour background and yeah, didn't work. And the last page was another one in a similar style with the loopy droopy bits, and I tried to bring in some more elements. So that's book 10. Right, so before I get on to book 11, a big thank you to Lily Goat Fluff, who got me some coffees on Buy Me a Coffee, and rather than drink all that caffeine, I thought I would treat myself instead to some new art supplies. So what I got was another template. What I really wanted was some Viridian ink, but they didn't have any in stock, and I was there, so this is what I got. It's like the circle template, except it's ellipses. Now, I have already used this, and I'll show you that in book 11 shortly, and it's quite useful actually, but you'll see that in a second. I also picked up some more gel pens as well. And the other thing that I got was some French curves. These are stencils as well. And what I was hoping, or what I am hoping, and actually what has happened with these, is that they are helping me to have a little bit more precision with my lines in my sketchbook. So you will see those in book 11 shortly. But a big thank you to Lily. These will be most useful, and whenever you see me using them, you know it's a lovely gift from you. I forgot something. There was a little bit of money left over, and I got myself a bar of chocolate. So thank you. I will enjoy that whilst I'm drawing. And yeah, I haven't tucked into it yet because I've still got a lot of Christmas chocolate, but it'll keep. So that'll be there when I've finished all the Christmas chocolate. Yay! Thank you very much. So book 11, I have been playing around with my new stencils. Now what I've done is I've used the French curves to create these nice sweeping lines. And in a way, I find this is a little bit like using a ruler, and it's just helping me keep my lines straighter. So far so good. For the leaves, I used a combination of my oval template and the French curves. I used the lower half of the stencil to draw the bottom of the leaves. So this template, it has little markers on it which are really, really useful. I also used the French curves for the initial arches here, but not here, here and here. Those were freehand, and this was the circle. So I filled it in with some just regular patterns, and I started practicing my shading a bit more. So this is something I've been working on for, I don't know, a few weeks now, maybe a few months. and I really do want to master the art of shading. I've improved quite a lot. So again, on this one I used the French curves to draw the arches, my circle template for the circles, and I also used the oval template to draw the initial shapes around the edges, and the rest of it was freehand. This was a fantastic exercise in repetition because I was trying to shade all of these in the same way. So not only was it a good exercise in practicing drawing the curves and the shapes on these sections, but for the shading it was like one circle after another circle and one leaf, petal, I don't know what to call these, after another. So I really felt like I got a lot out of this drawing. It took ages. It took about 3 days to finish because I was concentrating so hard on getting things right. This one I was just playing around with all the different shapes on the French curves. I think one of them I just drew around as it was. Is it this one? Maybe. And I just did a regular Zentangle page, as I like to do at least once a week. So this next one, again, I was working with this kind of petal shape. I like that style, but I think I did them too big. Again, I used the French curves for the initial line, and then I drew the rest freehand. And I also used the French curves for these big sweeping lines and for the curves on these leaves here that are upside down. And then I just added the extra embellishments on there. Also for these I used the large oval, and I just drew it in pencil first, and then I had a template on how high to bring up each of these petals that I was then drawing. So these templates have actually been really useful, and I'm really looking forward to using them further over the next few months. This next one was a variation on one that I did in my sketchbook number 10, but again, instead of using just circles, I was using the oval template, just to see how it worked really. And this next one is not finished yet. I've spent one evening on this so far, which was about an hour and a half. So again, I've been using the French curves on this one, just to get the lines nice and sweeping. We'll see how that one progresses. So that's book 11. I haven't even written on the front of this one yet. Let's do that. But in addition to that, I have also worked on a few full process videos that didn't work out quite so well, and I thought I'd just show you them quickly. This one was a coin push that I did with some ink diffusion. The problem I had with this one was I was using way too much ink. So usually when I do the ink diffusion, I use a paintbrush just to drop the ink on the page. But this time I decided to use my pipettes, and yeah, it didn't work out quite as well. So I'm going to redo that one and hopefully be able to schedule a new ink diffusion video up in the future. And this one, because I've been practicing drawing with my regular drawing pencils, I thought I'd give this one a go with the Inktense pencils, and it didn't really work out as well. First of all, I forgot to stretch the paper, so it's all curvy and nasty. And secondly, I was using too much water. I do really think that the Inktense pencils work a lot better when you're using more than one colour. They just seem to blend a lot better. So yeah, that one, not a complete disaster. The composition was fine, but yeah, it just didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. Anyway, one of the other things that I've been doing is playing with these watercolour brush markers. Limited success, but some success. So I will briefly show you what I've been doing with those. So first of all, I tried them on a piece of Neurographic art. Well, this wasn't the first one I did, but this is the first one to show you today. I did a lot of experimental pieces, which will be in the review when I put that up. Then I tried using them in a slightly different way, and I did these two pictures, which, if the footage has come out all right, I will put them up on as a full process video, but on a Sunday. And yeah, they were interesting to do, let's just say that. But also, this is my regular sketchbook, which I haven't shown you for quite some time. And again, I was playing around with the watercolour brush pens. At least I was on that one. This one, I'm not sure what I used. I used coloured pencil on that one, just a quick sketch. And this one, again, was done with the watercolour brush pens. I'm not sure if that's really very clear on the screen. Sorry, just wobbled the camera. So that was a few pictures of my regular sketchbook, which I haven't touched for a while, so that was all good. And I also did a couple in my Inktober sketchbook. Now, there were more pages in this sketchbook than I really needed for Inktober, and some of you will remember that I gave up on the last day. Well, I finished the last day's picture. This is just a drawing of the clannish stones. And then with the watercolour brush pens, I made a couple of backgrounds with the intention of doing a pen and ink drawing over the top, which I did on this one, but I haven't got round to doing this one yet. Just quick sketches, just quick observational sketches from photographs. So yeah, quite enjoyed that. So I had a message from a lady called Joan asking what pens I was using for these really nice dark backgrounds that I was doing. Regular people will know that I like to use a gel pen. So I thought what I'd do today is just talk a little bit about the different sorts of gel pens. So gel pens are really inexpensive and they're really ideal for just regular sketchbook drawing, but they're not all equal. Some have finer nibs and some have thicker nibs. Some work really well on the cartridge paper and less well on the watercolour paper when I do the full process videos. So it really is going to be a case of trial and error. So you can get all kinds of different types of gel pens. The type that I use are just handwriting pens, and some have their advantages and some have disadvantages. My favourite to use are these ones, and these are just regular supermarket gel pens. You can buy 6 for £1 in the UK, and I'm sure you can get the equivalent elsewhere in the world as well. These are permanent ink. They're indelible. I can use them with any water-based paint, watercolour, Inktense, my regular drawing inks. They're really versatile, so they don't bleed and perfect. Not all gel pens are indelible. These ones are a comfort grip from the same supermarket. Gel pens again, but they do bleed when I use the Inktense or the watercolour paint or any kind of water-based colour. The Sharpie gel pens, they are not indelible either. They will bleed if I use my Inktense or watercolour or my drawing inks, so not ideal. But also they give a very different kind of black as well. So all I can recommend when it comes to using gel pens is just pick some up. Buying a branded pen does not mean it's going to be a better pen for that process. Now you do see quite a lot of people using fine liners for their drawings. I tried out this Unipin one and I didn't get along with it. However, I will be trying it on the watercolour paper later on in the week just to see if, well, to see if that works better than these ones really. You can also buy these liquid ink pens. Now again, you can get these branded or unbranded, but I don't like these. These do not fill in block colour. Perfectly fine for just regular lines. For colouring in on block, large areas, they're awful. When it comes to coloured gel pens, again, not all of them are equal. I have so many. The Zebra Doodles are pretty good. They're glitter and they are very vibrant on the page. Very occasionally I get a dud one where the ink just doesn't flow or there's an air bubble in them, but I think I've probably lost about 3 pens that way, and overall they're very, very good. They're very, very cheap kind of gel pens that you can pick up in discount stores. They're pretty awful as well. The ink doesn't flow very well. I've also tried these Oxford gel pens. Now the nibs on these are very, very fine, a lot finer than any other gel pens that I've tried, and they're only really good for very, very small detail. These ones are from Hobbycraft. They're perfectly fine. Again, I've had a couple of dud ones where the ink hasn't flown. I prefer the regular coloured ones and the metallic ones over the pastel ones. The pastel ones are very chalky when you're drawing with them. So I do keep saying that gel pens are really for high school kids to kind of decorate their margins and work, whatever. But for just playing around in your sketchbook, these are a very quick, non-messy way of adding colour to the page. And yeah, I don't have a problem with using them as an art material. So thank you for joining me this week. I will just give you a little health and life update. I'm knackered. Yeah, I'm really tired, but you know, I'm plodding forth. I did have the results back from my Dexa scan. I still have some deterioration in my bones, so I do still have osteopenia. Now, it's not osteoporosis yet, so yeah, they've got to run some more blood tests, so I've got to go and have those next week. Joy, I just keep going back and forth to the hospital for some blood tests, but yeah, they'll probably tell me to eat more dairy, stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. So that's about it for this month. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope that you're working on some interesting things at the minute. Do give me a thumbs up if you've made it this far. Your support is genuinely very much appreciated, and every little like always puts a little smile on my face. So thank you for all of those. And I'm really looking forward to finishing off this picture and trying out some more designs. I think what I've been trying to do is to focus on 1 or 2 patterns, like 1 or 2 elements, and just trying to master those. So yeah, I'll try and do some of these as full processes over the next few weeks as well, but we shall see how it goes. I'll be back with my next Arty update at the start of March. Crikey. Wow, yeah. Doing these monthly has been better for me because I've been able to focus on doing other things like playing around with the watercolour markers, but it does feel like I've got an awful lot more work to show you at the end of the month. So yeah, I mean, I will be back next month with another Arty update with all of my progress. Meanwhile, I'll see about putting these ones up as full process videos. I'll check the footage, they might be a bit dull and they're not quite what I'd normally do, but if I do, I'll put them up on a Sunday so as not to interfere with my regular Tuesday videos. This one I have done for a Tuesday video, but it's not my best work. So yeah, once I've compiled the video for that, I will schedule that up as well for a Tuesday. So yeah, there'll be my regular Tuesday videos, and I'm still working on the Easy Guide to Doodles as well. Yeah, such a lot to do. Anyway, until next time, have a really good month. Keep drawing, keep scribbling, keep practicing, and yeah, we can learn together.